Okay, so now that we have our background, we have our skin tone, we are ready to add some of those really defining details that give our portrait their personality. So the first thing we're going to do is, what I've done is, because I have all this pigment on my paper now, what I want to try to avoid, especially with this red background, is getting it on my hand and then getting it on other parts of the face. So one of the things you can do is you can just use a piece of regular scratch paper, and you can use that as a way of sort of blocking off parts of your picture so that you don't accidentally pick up that pigment on your hand. So I'm actually just going to go here and I'm covering up that red because I don't want to pick that up on my hand. I'm right-handed, so I put it on the right-hand side. And now I don't have to worry about getting red on my hand, which is going to get all over her face. So I'm going to actually start with her eyes. And then the last two things I'm going to do is, after her eyes are done and her eyebrows, I'm going to be adding in her shirt and her hair. Okay, I'm going to do the hair last because it has a lot of pigment. She's got this really dark hair, which means if I add it first, I'm going to get black all over my hand as I work on the details. So to avoid that, I'm going to do the hair last. Okay, so I'm going to work on her eyes. You'll see I've picked up a little blending stump. That's going to help me in those details, get the kind of colors I want. I also have my box of charcoal pencils. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my dark black, okay, and you can see she has these really dark eyes. So I'm just going to start first just with the outline, okay. Now she does have black eyelashes, but down here, as you're going to see, it's more of a dark brown. So because I don't have a dark brown, I only have black and light brown, I'm going to go ahead and just outline with black to begin with. And you have to trust your drawing at this stage. I'm going to go and I'm going to outline even the bottom. But because we don't want to make her look like she has this really intense, scary eyeliner, I'm going to go in with my light brown and I'm going to lighten up that black. And all this does is it makes her look a little bit more natural. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to work on her iris next. You can shake off any of that extra pigment. It's still pretty dark, but don't worry, as soon as we get the iris in there, it will look better. I'm going to start by outlining where her iris is. Irises are always darkest on the outer edge, okay? Remember that. You don't want to have this light edge. I'm adding in her pupil, okay? And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to add in brown. And when you color, you want to make sure that you're kind of coloring in like a star pattern. So for example, you're not coloring straight like this, but you want to kind of color around the pupil like a firework almost. And this is going to help you get some dimension in your eyes. Okay, so that's what I'm doing to fill in the space. And because she does have really dark eyes, I'm going to now go in with my black and it's blending in. And even with the black, I'm coloring like a star shape. Okay, now if you want to go in now with your blending stump, you can. And all that's doing is it's sort of bringing in some of that darker black into her eye. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more black to kind of darken it. Okay, and now one of the things that we often forget are the eyelids. So you can see her eyelid is really a lot lighter than her eyelash here. So I'm going to go in first with my black and I'm going to just use really light pressure. I'm going to retrace that eyelid. I'm not pushing very dark at all. I'm redrawing in her eyelid. Okay, you're welcome to now go back over that with the brown just to soften that a little bit because we don't want this sharp, harsh black line. And now I'm actually going to go in with my black and I'm actually going to color in a shadow here. Okay, so the next couple things we want to do to add some detail and depth to our eye is we want to go in with white and actually some pink. Okay, you can use this kind of beigey pink or there's a little bit of a darker one. And these colors are going to give us our tear ducts, which are the inner portions of the eye. So I'm going to start with this darker pink And this is what makes your eye look round. So I'm going to add in a little bit of this pink here and a little bit of this pink down here, just lightly. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with my white and I'm going to lighten it a little bit and also re-go over the whites of my eye so that they look nice and clean and clear. Okay, pay attention to if there are areas that some of your eyes might have some shadow. In other words, it might be a little bit darker right underneath the eyelid. And if that's okay, that's the case, all you have to do is just add a little bit of that black to add some of that shadow. And then if you made it too dark, you just go back with your white and you can blend that up. And that will just sort of create, it will make your eye look as though it has some shape to it, some form. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white, it's my favorite part, and we're going to add a little bit of a highlight. Okay. If it's not showing up with your pencil, like mine is, I think I had too much pencil there, I'm just going to go back with my real pastel. I'm just going to put a little smudge right there. A little white smudge. And that's just going to give the eye a sheen so it looks as though it's wet. Okay. Okay, I'm going to jump over to my other eye. Same process. I start with a black outline. Working lightly. You don't want to make her look like she's got this really intense eye makeup. She's very natural looking. Going underneath. Okay. I'm going to lighten that with my brown. Okay, just softening it. And then I'm going to go back into with black to do my irises. Just like before, I add in my pupil. You want to make sure the pupil is what gives the eye the direction it's looking. So the location of the pupil is important because if they're off skew, your person is going to look cross-eyed. You don't want that. I go back in, I add in that brown. I go back, I darken that brown with my black, mixing those colors. I go in with my blending stump. And every time I'm coloring in the eye, I'm always using that kind of star technique. Okay, going back in with my black to kind of darken, re-darken this eyelid because it's sort of getting lost a little bit. Okay, and then you want to make sure, just like last time, we're going to add in lightly her eyelid. It's important because it gives the eye the shape. Okay, lighten it with my brown. And then go in and add my tear ducts with the pinks. Right into there, right in the corner, and right into the corner there. Go in with my white. I'm re-whitening her eyes here. Make them nice and clean and clear. Okay. And then if you want to go back in a little bit to add some shadow, you can take your black and do that. Okay, so that's it for the eyes.